Hey, thanks for being here today. So, let's talk about some stuff. I'm in a very vulnerable moment right now, and I feel like sometimes I have this idea that I need to adopt a persona when I'm making YouTube videos. I need to represent authority because I heard somewhere that that's what is going to make me be recognized. Of course, while I say this to you, I am aware of the unconscious pattern, you could say, or aware of what was an unconscious pattern. And I think that sometimes I just miss being vulnerable. I feel like I don't have that in my life personally, like in person at the moment. I don't have anyone I can talk to about these things, which for the most part, it's fine, right? I think the things that I talk about here, they point to the they point to a higher level connection with God. And one way or another, we realize that the experiences that we go through life, that the experiences that happen to us are maybe trials, you could say, are tests, are things that we are supposed to go through to realize that God is the only way, is the only option. And I've been feeling in a very strange way through something I I didn't even think was possible to be an example of the connection with God that you can have. I've been experiencing this connection through a heartbreak. So I've been going through a heartbreak for a while, and to be honest, the pain comes in waves, and I thought I was okay with it. I thought I had already processed most of the things that I needed to. But then it's like you end up knowing something more about that person, how they're currently living, and that twists the knife in your heart that you didn't even know was there. And and this creates so much pain, and this pain is so overwhelming that the only thing I can think of at the moment is there is only me and God, right? That's the only connection that matters. Not in the not in the sense that I'm running away from pain. No, it's like the only thing I can hold on to be able to go through this pain is to hold on to God, is to hold on to this connection with the divine. And it's not so much as a process that you can choose to go through, but it is something that you realize is the only thing that is there. It's just you and God. Or, it's just God, right? I think that, at least in my life, I tend to go through periods or where I lose myself for a bit, where I know that what I'm doing is something that I shouldn't be doing. It's something unconscious. But on the other hand, there is something that is telling me that I need to go through that, because somehow, some way, there is a lesson there to be learned. And as as much pain as I'm feeling right now, I wouldn't trade it for anything else, because I know that this pain is alchemical. This pain is a fuel for me awakening to deeper layers of myself. But it doesn't mean that I'm not suffering. It doesn't mean it's not overbearing at times. It's like life finds a way to make you kneel. It's very humbling. And it's always when you thought you had things figured out that God or life sweeps you off your feet. And again, that's okay, because you realize that you don't have everything figured out. And it's preferable to be in pain, but to be conscious, than to feel like you're the king or queen of your own realm, which is an illusion. I don't know if that makes sense to you. It does for me. There's no clear answer. When we are experiencing this level of pain, there's no blame. It's not something that you can bypass or cope. Even though you, in my case, for example, I understand. I I I wouldn't say I understand. I have a good sense of why the breakup happened, why the heartbreak happened. I also have a good sense of, you know, the person's motivations. I also see how I affected the course of the relationship. But at the same time, I know that I wouldn't be able to do anything differently, because that was my consciousness at the time, and that was her consciousness at the time. And so there is no clear blame, or it's just the way life prescribes. This is engineered in a way that makes me turn to God, makes me not able to easily misconstruct the situation into a way that makes me be able to prevent myself from experiencing the pain again. The truth is, I have no control over that. None of us do. And one option that I could take, but it's just so out of the question, is the option to be scared for life and not engage in any other possible connection. This is just a way of running from it. The only thing that remains is God, is the realization that no other person can provide or fulfill a need that I have. Only God can. which is not something external. The realization of God is exactly what fulfills those needs that I'm talking about. It is the process of realizing it that actually fulfills those cavities that are currently filled with unconsciousness. You are bringing light to those cavities, which are the representation of your needs. Once those cavities are filled with light, you realize that that is your natural state. And of course, you can have these realizations, this very deep understanding of yourself, and at the same time, it's still so much pain, and that's okay. It's suffering. Again, that's good. But again, it's okay to feel like you're not being able to handle it. But truthfully, there's nothing you can do other than to go through it. I'm talking more for me than for anything else. But I hope that my vulnerability here helps someone who's going through a similar process. I don't hold all the answers. None of us do. It needs to occur to yourself organically. At least that's what I'm realizing for me for my life. Is that you don't know anything. It is the process of going through these things that gives me clarity. I wish you the best.